On the 7th of May, India launched Operation Sindoor, a swift and decisive military response against Pakistan's terror networks. This operation was a tribute to every wife who lost her husband, to every sister who lost her brother, and to every parent who lost their child. While the message with Operation Sindoor was clear, India's sovereignty is inviolable and the spirit unbreakable. You may be wondering, why Operation Sindoor? What was the symbolism behind this name? Well, Sindoor is a vermilion powder. It is a traditional marker of the marital status of Hindu women. Married women wear it either in the parting of their hair or on their foreheads. And they wipe it off if they become widowed. Yes, and that's what happened on April 22nd in Pahalgam, when Pakistan-sponsored terrorists killed 26 innocent civilians. Many women lost their husbands. What was their fault? They were Hindu. And the Indian government's choice of the name Operation Sindoor signaled the Indian government's intention to avenge the widowed women. On social media, the Indian Army announced the retaliatory strikes with a stark image that included a jar of spilled sindoor which resembled spattered blood. The name of the operation clearly fits because the Pahalgam terror attack crossed all red lines. Tourists were targeted, people were asked their religion and shot dead in cold blood in front of their families. The bereaved families have welcomed India's response, and this is not the first time that India has selected a unique title for its operations against Pakistan. The country has a long tradition of naming military missions after concepts of mythology or even nature, often conveying strength, symbolism, and even sentiment. Let's now tell you about the other names of the operations that India carried out against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. Let's go way back. In 1947, that's the first Indo-Pak war. The first major clash occurred in 1947, soon after the partition of India and Pakistan. The war was known as the First Kashmir War. This war erupted when tribal militias backed by Pakistan infiltrated Jammu and Kashmir. No points of guessing why the first clash was called the First Kashmir War. The second war broke out in 1965 when Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar, aimed at infiltrating Kashmir with disguised troops and insurgents to provoke uprisings, and India responded with a full-scale military offensive. This operation was, the name was chosen for the Islamic connotations. That's Operation Gibraltar, which was what Pakistan launched, and India in response launched Operation Riddle to Pakistan's operation. The name Riddle likely reflected the complex and multifaceted military strategy adopted by India. The third war was in 1971, the Bangladesh Liberation War. In 1971, Pakistan's crackdown on East Pakistan, now called Bangladesh, led to widespread violence. India intervened in support of the Bangladeshi independence movement, launching military operations on the Eastern Front. India launched an operation which was called Cactus Lily. The name combines the resilience of a cactus and the grace of a lily, signifying strength in adversity, signifying strength when the enemy continues to pound on. The follow-up operation that India launched was Operation Trident and Operation Python, again in 1971. Trident marked the first use of anti-ship missiles in the region. Pakistani forces surrendered on December 16th, leading to the creation of Bangladesh in 1971. Then comes the Siachen conflict of 1984, launched in 1984 to preempt Pakistani movements in the Siachen Glacier. India launched Operation Meghdoot, which means a cloud messenger, a reference to Kalidasa's classical Sanskrit poem, and the name captured high-altitude, remote nature of the conflict. Then comes the Kargil War of 1999. It was called the Kargil War because It was primarily fought in and around the Kargil district. India then launched Operation Vijay to reclaim the territory, and Vijay means victory. And Operation Vijay concluded with India regaining control of all the occupied posts and emerging victorious in the Kargil war. Apart from Operation Vijay, Operation Safed Sagar was also launched by the Indian Air Force in 1999, which translates to White Ocean. The name referenced the snow-covered terrain of the conflict zone. And now, talking about the strikes in response to the terrorist attack on an Indian Army base in Uri in 2016, the Indian Special Forces crossed the line of control and destroyed multiple terror launch pads in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The operation did not carry a formal name, but eventually it got to be known. It was widely known as the Uri Surgical Strike. In 2019, following the Pulwama terror attack that killed 40 paramilitary personnel, the Indian Air Force targeted Jaish-e-Mohammed training camps in Balakot. And this operation was called Bandar, meaning monkey in Hindi, and is widely interpreted as a reference to Lord Hanuman, symbolizing power and strategic daring. Time and again, Pakistan has launched attempts through aggression and infiltration to seize our land and inflict harm. And India has stood firm every time. On this edition of Gravitas Plus, we take a moment to thank our Indian Armed Forces for their valor, for their courage. They stand tall on icy heights, in scorching deserts and beneath the ocean, guarding the nation with unwavering vigilance. While we sleep, it is they who remain awake and making sacrifices beyond imagination.